Wherever I go in Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland, people keep telling me the same thing. They want the police to be more visible, more approachable and more involved with the community. So I'm putting forward a policy to do just that, and it's inspired by that great Briton, Winston Churchill. My name is Rupert Matthews and I'm Conservative candidate to be Police and Crime Commissioner for Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland. This is just one of my policies to improve policing in our area.
Hi, my name is Matthew Scott and welcome to Bright Ideas, the place for innovations in policy. I'll be joined today by my friend Rupert Matthews, but do remember you can subscribe to these videos by clicking on the button below. Click on the bell notification as well so you get told when these videos are being uploaded. Rupert, it's over to you.
Now, when the Second World War began, Churchill wasn't Prime Minister. He was in charge of the Royal Navy, and the Navy had a plan to destroy Germany's dreaded U-boats. They sent out warships as hunter groups to sink the U-boats, but they forgot how large the Atlantic Ocean was. The British warships spent months steaming around but found hardly any U-boats. So Churchill changed the plan. The warships were put around the merchant ships they were supposed to protect, and when the U-boats came to attack the convoys, they could be attacked themselves. So how to apply that lesson to policing in Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland? Well, the police need to be where the public are, so they can talk to the public and the public can talk to them, so the police can be approachable and be part of our local community. When lockdown is over, we'll start getting back to normal, and the places where most people are to be found are in the high footfall retail areas of our towns and cities. That is where our police need to be. So I want to introduce what are known as retail area foot patrols. They'll bring many advantages. People will become used to seeing the police out and about. The police will be more approachable. The police will become a much more visible part of our community. That's just one of my plans to strengthen links between the police and the public. A law-abiding society depends on mutual respect, affection and cooperation between the public and the police. So if you like this plan, click on the like button down below. As Sir Robert Peel said when he founded the modern police force, the police are the public and the public are the police. If I'm elected to be Police and Crime Commissioner for Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland, I am going to make sure that that ambition becomes a reality.
Businesses have become increasingly vocal recently for a lack of support on issues that affect them, but don't often get seen as serious. Is this scheme designed to address those concerns, like shoplifting, antisocial behaviour or assaults on staff?
Well, yes, obviously, this has got something to do with helping businesses. You're absolutely right. That things like shoplifting, assaults on staff, fraud even, very often they're glossed over, they're not taken seriously. And I want to send a very clear message, not only to businesses, but also to those who prey on businesses, that that's no longer the case. With having these retail foot patrols, yes, we are going to be targeting shoplifting, we are going to be targeting the sort of petty crime that goes on in our town centres. But there's a lot more to it than that. This isn't just about looking after businesses, worthy as that is. Everybody goes to our city centre in Leicester, everybody goes to town centres in places like Hinckley, Lutterworth, Melton Mowbray. They deserve to be in a safe environment, they deserve to be in a respectable environment, and they deserve to be able to see the police and to interact with the police. I want this to be a two-way thing. This isn't just about the police keeping an eye open for shoplifters. This is about the police interacting with the public, getting to be part of the community, becoming familiar. I think that one of the things that's I think is regrettable over the past 20 odd years is the way in which the police have become a lot less visible in our communities, and I want to put that into reverse. I want the police uniform to be just as familiar on our streets as it was maybe 20 or 30 years ago. This is part of that. This isn't the whole thing, of course. I'm looking for a much wider strategy, but you're going to have to be waiting for the best of the manifesto by then. But there's one other sector of society that I think is particularly important, get used to interacting with the police. And that is young men in the inner city sort of environment. I've made a big effort over the months since I was selected to get into the city centre and start talking to younger people, particularly to younger men. After all, these are the people who are most at risk from knife crime, who are most at risk of carrying knives as well. And time again, they've said to me that they don't like the police, they don't respond well to the police. And that's because the only time that they see a police officer is when they're being stopped late at night, going about, they're all perfectly respectable people. They're walking home from a friend's house. They're on their way perhaps to a nightclub. And yet that's the only time that they see the police. And that's an environment in which, of course, the police are looking for things to be wrong. I need to be confident that the police are going to be interacting with our younger generation in a positive way. And I think this is just one way of doing that, though, as I say, this is just all part of feeding into my theme about making the police more responsible to our communities, making the police part of our communities, and making the police uniform familiar once again.
How will these teams be resourced? Do you have numbers in mind? Will this be funded by you as the PCC or come from the government's Uplift programme?
Well, no, I don't like questions like that, I'm afraid. I've seen far too often when I was a member of the European Parliament, and indeed in the 8 years that I spent on the council down in London, what I refer to as top slicing. That is, a new resource becomes available. In this case, the very welcome uplift in police numbers and resources that's being brought in by Boris's Conservative government. And then immediately, people such as PCCs or chief constables want to say, oh, that's good, I've got a few more men, and take them away and put them into some little pet project that they've got to be in the bonnet about, and it never filters down. What I want to do is to look at the police numbers and police budget as a whole, and if you like, start from scratch, start from where the base budget is, and really start to look very seriously at what do we want the police to do? What do the public want the police to do? The police are a public service after all. They're financed from taxation, and increasingly that money is coming from the local precept rather than from central government. And it's important that the police are responsive to what local people want them to do. So no, I'm not in the business of saying, I'm going to spend the uplift resources on this, or, we've got 80 more police officers this year than last year, so they're going to go here or they're going to go there. They're all going to go into the central pot, and it's a matter of looking at that central pot and making sure that it is used wisely, that the chief constable is held to account. I mean, that's what the Police and Crime Commissioner is there for, after all, to hold the chief constable to account, to set the budget, to set the strategy, and to make sure that the service that the public get is the service that they want. So no, I don't look at it like that. This is all part of the big wider policy of how the police our streets.
There is another benefit to increasing police numbers, reducing crime, and having more police visible. How do you see this impacting upon the local economy and contributing to the government's Build Back Better agenda?
Well, I've made no secret over the months of the fact that I'm very concerned about the impact that the lockdown has had on our society. Leicester, as I'm sure you are aware, has been locked down tighter and longer than any other comparable city in the United Kingdom. So we've had it particularly hard. Of course, it's been necessary to keep COVID under control, but I really don't think a lot of people have looked at the damage being done to businesses, to civic society, to clubs, and so on. And we really do need to build back better. Boris is absolutely right about that. And the police have got a role to play in that by making sure that the streets of Leicester and Hinckley, Colville, and our other towns are safe places where people do feel safe, where the police are a highly visible presence. That's going to help the society to get back on its feet. And it's not just business. I know, of course, retail businesses and the hospitality sector have been very hard hit by lockdown. But this really is a problem of morale. People have to feel safe. People have to feel that they can get out, that they can go into our towns and cities, that they can attend their WI meetings, they can go to their Probus club. They can go to whatever it is. I mean, one of the chaps up the road here is into wargaming, with those tiny little model soldiers. But he's not been able to do that because it involves going into Leicester city centre, and the club has a venue when they're getting together to do their hobby. All of that needs to be rebuilt. People have got out of the habit of it. They've got to get back into the habit of it. We've got to get back to having safe cities, safe town centres. This is all part of the Build Back Better programme. And yes, the police can play a very important part in that. And I want to get back to all our towns and cities, and indeed the villages, being real hubs of our community again. That's what this is all about.
Rupert, thank you so much for joining me. That was a really interesting talk, and thank you for your presentation. Remember everyone, subscribe to these videos by clicking on the button below. Click on the bell notification as well so you get notified when the new videos come in. Thank you again for joining, and good luck, Rupert.